Hey y'all, what's up and welcome to your next notebook setup video. In order for you to successfully complete this notebook setup, you're going to need some tape, some markers, a scissor, of course some glue, this packet that starts with lesson 1-8, absolute values and factorials, and of course you are going to need your handy dandy notebook. One thing that, again, I'm going to point out to you is that at the side of every single page, in your new lessons for next week, I've written for you if it is a student page or a teacher page. I've told you what you need to do with it, whether it's glue it into your book or tape it in, and I've also taken the extra step as to telling you which page in your interactive notebook this sheet should go on. So you'll notice that this one goes on page 19. It's glued to page 19. This one is glued to page 20. Something that's super important, I've given you a note that you're going to skip pages 21 and 22 in your book because these are going to be handwritten when we get to class. And then I tell you, again, what to do with the sheet as well as what page to glue in on your book. So if you don't want to follow along with the video, you don't have to. However, I strongly suggest that you cut the lessons out one by one. If you have done this correctly, what your notebook will look like is the following. You should have already numbered your pages, and then we are starting on page, this is the last one that we did in class, we are starting on page 19. So lesson 1-8, you're cutting out the pages. The teacher page gets glued to page 19 in your interactive notebook. The student page gets cut out and glued to page 20 in your interactive notebook. Pages 21 and 22, we are skipping. Notice that the pages are right next to each other. These pages, we will write them right in our notes during class. Page 23, there's a larger student page that gets cut out and glued down. This flap gets taped along the back side to page 23. You should be able to flip it up like a book so you can see the notes underneath. And then this is your student page glued to page 24. Lesson 1-11, adding and subtracting radicals. Again, the teacher page is glued down. The first student page is taped on top. The second student page is glued down to page 26. This is what your book should look like. And then last but definitely not least in this packet is lesson 1-12. And both the teacher page as well as the student page are cut out and glued down to pages 27 and 28 respectively. In addition to that, we do need to start populating our table of contents. So please go ahead and turn to the front of your book. And we are here at the table of contents. The first entry that we are making to our table of contents is the overall topic. Our overall topic for the first entry is resources. And I'm going to go ahead and underline that. Our resources are as follows. Notice that I'm using a marker for this so I can stand out. You could use a pen if you'd like. Just make sure it's something that's bright and it stands out to you. Page 1 is our login information. So in my topic, I'm going to place page 1. Notice that I'm going to write small so that way I can hold the year's worth of information in my table of contents. And on page 1, it's the login information. Please also make sure that you're being neat. Page 2 is our Algebra 1 Common Core formula sheet. The neater you can be and the closer together you can get this information, the better. Pages 3 and 4 are Algebra 1 cheat sheets. However, I'm only going to write down page 3. And this is Algebra 1 cheat sheets. I'm also going to go back and I'm going to label anything that doesn't have a title on it. So for this one, it's login info. This heading is pretty big. Over here, I'm going to put Algebra 1 exam formula sheet. Our next page are Algebra 1 cheat sheets. Great. Now that we've titled our pages and we've updated our table of contents, we still have a lot more pages in here, a lot more things to fill out. So Unit 1 is known as Back to Basics. So I'm going to include this in here. Unit 1, Back to Basics. I'm going to go ahead and underline that. On page 5, this is 1-1, our mole lesson. So I'm going to title my pages as well as fill in my table of contents. Page 5 is 1-1 mole. Pages 7 and 8 is lesson 1-2. Adding and subtracting integers. And that's located on page 7. Our next lesson is 1-3, which is multiplying and dividing integers. That's on page 9. Again, if you want to use a pen to do this, that is fine. On page 11, we have lesson 1-4, operations with decimals. And we're going to fill this in here. One dash 5 is adding and subtracting fractions. And you catch the drift of doing this. So you're going to title each of your pages, and then you're going to fill in your table of contents as you're done. Notice that I'm only writing the first page that the lesson falls on. You can go ahead and complete your table of contents all the way up to lesson 1-12. I will put in a screenshot of what your table of contents should look like at the end of this. Don't forget to title all of your pages as well.